Welcome, guys, to another episode of Let's Nirvana. This episode is very special with my dear friend, with a person that loves running. And we're going to have an episode with him today about his life journey, about everything that he is doing in his life. Please welcome Dr. Ahmed Mourad, the father, the husband, living in Boston, Chicago. Welcome, Ahmed. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start general, easy question. Who is Ahmed Mourad?
I'm a dentist. I'm 38 years old. عايش في Boston. Originally from Egypt. I was born in Boston, and my dad moved back to Egypt. راح مصر وبعد كده راح جوردن وبعد كده رحنا السعودية. We lived in Saudi Arabia for 13 years. And then I went to high school in Qatar, in Doha. And then I went to dental school in Egypt. And after I finished my dental school, I came back here to the US, to New York, where I did my dental school. Then now I'm in Boston maybe for 13 years.
Okay. So you had an eventful life so far. You traveled from one place to another. And you have a lot of life experience, actually. But one thing I want to know is behind closed doors, behind your social media where you post about your marathons and all the activities that you do, who is actually Ahmed? So when you're sitting at home with your family, with your kids, how do you define yourself?
That's a very deep question. I never thought about it before. I think as part of my personality, I'm always my dad always told me that I have kind of dreamy personality. Like I always have big dreams that I want to achieve. Sometimes it's not realistic, and sometimes I can put myself in a lot of pressure to achieve my goals. But that's how I enjoy it. So I'm calm, I'm quiet most of the time. So I'm like mixed between being extrovert and introvert at the same time. I have like a lot of friends. I like to be outside, but at the same time, I like to have a quiet time by myself. So that's basically me in general. I am a dad for Yusuf and Noor, married to Nadia, and I am a general dentist, and I love to run. That's my new hobby. I started running not long time ago, so it's a new thing in my life. And I feel like it was one of my best decisions I have made.
Amazing. We'll get to the running part in a bit actually. كنت عايز أسألك دلوقتي على حياتك. انت طبعا كنت في قطر وبعد كده في السعودية ورحت أمريكا. عايز أعرف الترانزيشن اللي انت عملته ده، يعني حياتك ازاي اتغيرت من الشرق الأوسط بعد كده رحت أمريكا. طبعا الكالتشر مختلف، الناس مختلفة. اتأقلمت ازاي وايه الاختلافات اللي انت شايفها من هنا وهناك؟
I was actually talking about that to one of my coworkers. She's from Brazil, and I was telling her, I think because I travel in young age in multiple places, and I think I can live anywhere at this point. Like if you take me to any countries, I think I will be able to fit in as who I am. Like to live as authentic as you can be, so you can be comfortable, so you respect other people's culture, and you be proud of your own. So I was born in US, and I lived when I was 3 years old, so I was too young. I don't remember anything. But we lived in between Egypt, Jordan. That was 2-3 years, and I barely remember anything. Most of my childhood was in Saudi Arabia. We were living in the south, in a city named Abha, in the mountain. Very quiet. We have like very quiet like childhood. But I was surrounded with different cultures. My friends were Saudis, Sudanese, Syrian, Jordanian, Lebanese. So I had a really good childhood in Abha, even though it was boring sometimes, but it was nice and quiet.
You didn't feel like the odd one out? You didn't feel different when you moved to America, like because of the culture, because of the people, and because obviously you're you look Middle Eastern, right? So like you're Egyptian, of course, but you look Middle Eastern. They don't know exactly which country you're from. So it's didn't you feel like any sort of discrimination or anything when you moved to America?
Not really. I think
Okay.
the good transition happened in Qatar. So after I moved from Saudi Arabia in high school to Qatar, to Doha, Doha is very diverse. And even in
Yeah.
our compounds, we have a lot of Americans and a lot of people from all over the world. So I felt like that was a good transition between,
Okay.
because if I just moved from Abha to America, that would be a big jump.
Okay.
But like from Qatar and Egypt to America, that was easier. And for some reason, it doesn't bother me when people have this kind of barrier against Muslims or against Middle Easterns, because it's a barrier that if they get to know you, most probably they will like you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%.
So if they have questions or if they are wondering like about my religion or my background, that doesn't bother me. I don't take it really personal. But of course, you will find people who are extreme, that
Yeah.
they are racist, and that's a different story. But if the people like they don't know who I am, or they are kind of they are not comfortable asking questions about Islam or about my background, that doesn't bother me. So I think because I traveled in different places in a young age, and that makes it made me like more comfortable going to anyway like here in US. So I started going to New York. I didn't live in Boston right away. I went to New York, and New York also was very diverse. There's a lot of Egyptian people there and a lot of Arabs, and I didn't really feel homesick moving from. I was in Cairo then. I went to New York, so it was good transition as well. So I think I was lucky about my transition, and also um, it's like how my parents used to live, like in Saudi or in Qatar or in Egypt. They always being authentic and being comfortable who they are. So I didn't really need to fit in US because there's no need to.
True.
And the culture here also like makes you. People here are very kind. Like in general, American people they are good-hearted, and once they know you, they are very kind. And a lot of them are misinformed or not informed at all. But people who knows about our culture or religion, they are very respected, and they are easy to deal with.
I think they're not informed because of the media. I think there's a lot of problems in general in Europe in general or any European country, outside the Middle East. It's a big problem actually. But for me, coming from obviously an Arab and a Muslim country, having parents that really care about you and that build the foundation is very important. And I want to know how your parents uh, like helped you build your character, helped you build your personality, and what things that you actually learned from them that you're trying to instill in your kids today, because obviously you live in a different culture, and it's very important to teach your kids about Islam, and it's very important to have like a close family that love each other. So how is that transition with your family as well?
So I think so. My dad and my mom, they were very busy working, and but even though we are very busy working, the time we spend with them was a good quality time. And my dad like barely advised us. He always like tried to lead by example. So I like it's a rare like situation. I remember he gave me like an advice, like a verbal one. So I always like try to watch him, and like his way of like how he teach us to live in Saudi, because he's still a minority. So he always like try to make us respect the culture that we are living in and accept it. At the same time, be comfortable in our own culture. So I didn't find any كانش في أي تعارض من الاثنين, like to live comfortably in who you are and at the same time respect the culture that you are in. So I lived in harmony with Saudis, with Qataris, and with Egyptians, of course, because I'm from Egypt, and even here in US, I feel like the same way.
And how do you try to move these values and the stuff that you learned from your family or from your parents to your kids now? Because obviously it's not easy to live abroad, and your kids learn a lot of things from going to school. And maybe there are not things that you as a parent want them to learn. So how do you balance that with your family?
So we decided to put the kids in Islamic school. Um,
Oh, okay.
so Nadia, my wife, she grew up here and she went to public
Okay.
school. And her experience that she has to go to Islamic school just in the weekend was a little bit stressful. That she want to enjoy her weekend, so we do want the kids to connect Arabic or religion that take away from their time in the weekend. So we decided that we put them in Islamic school and they get the identity and the culture and the religion and the language because they spend more time in school, more in the house.
Yeah, of course, of course.
So
Yeah.
we didn't want the Arabic part to be stressful for them. So we thought you guys go to Islamic school and in the weekend you can do like soccer and they integrate
Yeah.
in the community, the American community, like so soccer, like my daughter Noor, she do like gymnastic. So we find this balance was better fit for them
Okay.
because like public school now it's hard, like the values changing and it's hard to filter everything, which you could, but it might be hard.
That's true. That's true. I think the most important thing is, at the end of the day, whatever they learn, you have your parents, like you mentioned, leading by example, and of course, being there for your kids, teaching your kids, and what's right and wrong. At the end of the day, because they're at school most of the time, they are going to learn some stuff. But as parents, we have to make sure that we're always there supporting them and teaching them the right values.
Of course, yeah. They always like the kids now are different. Like they are more, they're smarter and they know more than I used to be in their age. They are more exposed to
Everything.
the internet and
Yeah.
the information is more accessible and I think they know more and they are very smart. So the way you talk to them, like it has to be different. Like it doesn't have to be the same way like our parents talk to us. I think you
True.
have to modify it somehow to just cope with the pace of life now. But I think for me, the key is just to lead by example. Like we, as a grown up, also we need to self-discipline ourselves. So be able to convince them because if they see any contradiction between how we behave or how we talk or how we do things, and we just like lecture them, they wouldn't take it to heart or wouldn't be part of their identity.
You mentioned when I asked you who is Ahmed Mourad, you mentioned that you are a balance between an extrovert and an introvert. And I want to know, what do you do on a daily basis, like your life in America, basically? Because I see a lot of things on your social media where you actually are an extrovert because you're going out, you're doing marathons and like all sorts of things. So I want to know more about who is the extrovert Ahmed.
So the extrovert part that I love my friends. I have a lot of friends and I love enjoy like spending time with them. Everywhere I go, like I had a lot of friends in my school in Egypt. I still in touch with my school in the primary school and middle school and high school. I had a lot of friends from dental school in here in New York. But I love to spend time by myself. Even two of my marathon, I went by myself. I went to Berlin Marathon and Tokyo Marathon by myself, and I really enjoy it. I don't mind travel by myself or do things in my own. Uh, at the same time, I love to be with my family and I love to travel with them. But it wouldn't bother me to have just a quiet time by myself. So I have like this, I can be comfortable both ways.
Okay.
So a lot of time I like to run by myself. I like to work out by myself, even though my friends told me like, let's go to the gym together. And
Yeah.
like, I would rather work out by myself.
Okay.
Because in sport in general, I don't like to compete with others. I like to compete with myself. I like to work on achieve like personal goals. So, for example, for running, I want to have better pace every time I run. So maybe that's why I like running because it's like personal goals that you just focus on yourself. Um, I don't find myself that competitive, like even in schools or sports. Like if I play sport, I do it for fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people are like that actually. They just want to do it for fun, or they don't just want to do it to increase their fitness and just to be in shape, not to be competitive and just to I want to win. And but that was gonna lead me to my next question actually. How did you start running? Like, when did it start and why running? Like from all the sports, because running can be a bit boring, but obviously you're doing it for a purpose. But I want to know how it started because nowadays you do a lot of marathons.
So I was overweight when I moved from Egypt to New York. I went to school. I was busy with my school, and I eat from street food every day. I was
Yeah.
300 pounds.
Okay.
So, and it didn't really bother me until I start to get some hypertension, I high cholesterol, and then I was like, I need to pause and I need to work around that. So the doctor she told me, you have two options. You take medications for high blood pressure or you lose
Yeah.
weight. So I think a week or 2 weeks afterward, I decided I'm going to lose weight because I don't like to take medication. And I started my losing weight journey. It took me 6 months maybe to lose 100 pounds.
Wow.
I followed like a keto diet, like modification between keto diet and a paleo
Yeah.
diet,
Okay.
and with intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, I was like, I need to make it fun for myself. So I tried to look for different recipe and different type of diets. So I explored a diet called paleo diet. they عامل كده زي طعام أهل الكهف. الناس زمان كانوا
Uh-huh.
بياكلوا إيه. So they just eat whatever they have. Like they go for hunting, they eat meat, or they
Okay.
plant vegetables and fruits and nuts. So basic food. So I follow this diet. I try to make like Egyptian recipe or Middle Eastern recipe to fit that my diet. Because I feel like if you want to lose weight or you have a diet plan, you have to make it fun. If it's
True.
stressful, it would be sustainable. You will quit.
It won't last. Yeah, it wouldn't last.
So I tried to make it fun. I wouldn't like torture myself. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, I was very strict. I wouldn't eat anything like not allowed in my diet. And then I start to loosen up after my weight was manageable and I feel like more like in control. Now I have more freedom to try different things. So for running part, I remember like my first day in the gym, I ran for 3 minutes. I was barely running, like I was walking, and I hate it. It's just I'm tired and it's boring too, and it's tiring. Um, and then after losing weight, I did some yoga. I did some lifting. I didn't start running. I think my first run was for ALS. I ran for Nirvana. That was a run in Cambridge, 2018. That was my first race experience.
Yeah.
I never won a medal before, so it was just fun. Um, so I started running, and I had no idea what it's like. It's something new for me, and I was running with like amazing group of people, and I know I mentioned that before, but the guy who has LS and he was in the car in his wheelchair, and he was just next to me, and in the finish line he rotated his chair and he went backward with a big smile. So I felt like I don't know, like his spirit was very powerful and his energy was very positive. Like I told myself maybe I shouldn't complain about anything. This guy, he's just running, enjoying his time, and he shows that he is in control. Even ALS, it's hard to control it, or cancer or any other disease. He was in control for the moment that he's running.
Yeah.
And since that, I think that moment um, built my perception about running. That's something I would like to do.
I think we perceive life in a wrong way, and I think we take life for granted as well in many aspects. For example, we have a house, we have salaries, we're living comfortably, we have food on the table, but we're still not grateful for that. While other people have diseases and have other things that are difficult in life, but they're very happy. And I think this is where we need to just take a step back and say no, alhamdulillah, like I have everything. God gave me everything, and all. If I want to hope for something else, or of course, if I want to achieve more, of course, go ahead. But always be grateful for what we have, as human beings, and that's something I learned as well. That's something I learned the hard way, um, obviously because of mom. But it was something that I learned the hard way. But I also learned how to love afterwards. It was such a powerful message that I got from my mom. Like, no matter what you have, no matter what life throws at you, pick yourself up and live. At the end of the day, life is short. There's no point of not being grateful, not smiling, and all that.
Yeah, she was very positive, mashallah, and she has this positive mindset. And I remember she was checking me in school, how I'm doing in school, and if I post anything in the social media that doesn't sound like very positive, she was like, keep it up. And she's just like a cheerleader. MashaAllah, Allah yarhamha, she was a beautiful soul. And
I I want to since you're talking about mothers, I want you to describe your mom in a sentence or in a word. What does your mom mean to you?
my mom is, I would say, the soul of my soul.
Okay.
she is uh, she is my البوصلة بتاعتي, the compass. يعني if she's very hard worker and very kind, and I think the most thing I learned from her that she never hurt anyone. So her kindness is kind of contagious, and احنا نمشي بدعائها, يعني her prayers. I think that prayer is our blessing.
That's true. Yeah. How do you, because obviously you're a general doctor, so you need to balance your time between being a doctor and running, and obviously your personal life with your family. How do you manage to balance all these three?
Um, I start early, so because before I wasn't like really waking up early. I would just wake up on time for work, but now because I like to spend some time with the kids, I do want to take time from them, so I start my day early. So I wake up super early. I do my run early in the morning, and I go to the gym early in the morning as well. So by the time I come back, they're still sleeping, so I don't feel like I took from their time. Sometimes at nighttime, I sleep before them. I take them to the bed and I fall asleep before them, but it doesn't happen all the time. But that was my plan, is just to sometime in the lunch break, if my patient cancel or I have like longer lunch break. So I have my gym clothes and I go to the gym, I take a shower, I go back to work. So I try to find proper time to balance my time.
And in the hard days, for example, the hard days where you don't feel like running or you don't feel like going to the gym, or even if you have a blocker at work or something, you don't feel well, you don't feel like actually going up and working. How do you tell yourself, no, no, I have to work, or I have to go to the gym, or I have to run? How do you move that?
The best run is when you have a bad day. So when you have a bad day and you do feel like running, you're going to have the best run, because that will change your mood and will make you feel good about yourself, that even though you don't feel good, you still did it. So I try, even in Eid, for example, having the day in Eid, my tradition every Eid in the morning, I have to go to the gym. I will do my long run.
Okay.
So, or in vacation time, I try to work out in the morning. So I try to find the time that usually people don't work out, and I push myself to go. So it's like, it's a lifestyle.
Okay, so it's more of a lifestyle to you. It's more of something that you do on a daily basis that is part of who you are.
Yes. Yeah. You like the way it feels. Even though,
Okay.
like, while you're running, you feel tired and you feel miserable sometimes. And at the end of the marathon, you feel like, I will never do that again. And then when you finish, you will say, no, I will do it again. It feels good afterward.
From all the marathons that you did, what was the hardest one? And when was it exactly?
The hardest one was Boston Marathon, and because it was in Ramadan. That was 2022, and it was my first one. Like, I didn't know if my body will allow me to run 26 miles or not. And I had like mixed opinion about should I fast or I shouldn't, or is allowed to fast just for running a marathon, because it's not my job. It's not like what I do in daily basis. So I contact a guy from London. He's a runner, and he did Manchester marathon while fasting as well. So I got some tips from him, and I did 2 half marathon while fasting before the day of marathon. So mentally, I was prepared to do it, but at the same time, because it might not be safe to be dehydrated for a long time with no water. So I would go like slower pace, and I will listen to my body. And then I didn't decide what I'm gonna do. I said if my body would allow me to run, I might just stop or break my fast, but I didn't really decide. I'm gonna start running. I will see how it goes.
Okay. What things so far did you learn from running?
I think 3 things: self-discipline, and mental toughness, and also empathy to other people. I think like 3 go together.
Okay. So obviously you're using your Instagram as a platform to share all these things, and that's what I'm trying to do as well. Um, but I want to know, how do you like, what content do you choose to actually post on Instagram, and what message are you trying to tell the viewers that you have, and the people that don't even follow you, but the people, because sometimes it appears on the Find or Explorer. What message are you trying to share with them when you're either sharing about Gaza or sharing about running, or any other activities that you do on Instagram?
So when I start Instagram, I was just on Facebook before. For me, Instagram just posting pictures, so I was like, I'm not really into it.
Yeah.
So when I started losing weight, my sister told me, try Instagram. That will be self-motivation for you. Just post your picture and stuff. So I tried it, and it was just for personal goals that I want to just encourage myself. So okay, this is my healthy food. I'm gonna eat that. So just put a little bit of pressure on myself in indirect way. So it started just for losing weight. It was for my losing weight journey in the beginning.
It was all food pictures, I remember. Yeah.
All food picture. That's like for me, food has to look good to be able to eat it. So I try to make it fun way. One of my friends in the dental school in Egypt, he also lost a lot of weight, and هو كتب كتاب اسمه ازاي تخس وانت مبسوط. It's the whole idea is يعني lose weight, but don't make it tough for yourself, because food is fun and part of the life that we enjoy. So it shouldn't be like a punishment.
صح. عشان لو بتحرم نفسك من حاجات معينة، هتلاقي نفسك انها مش هتواظب على الدايت، وهتلاقي نفسك بترجع لعاداتك العادية اللي بتاكل الأكل كله مزيت، والأكل اللي من بره ومش صحي. فصح، الكتاب ده حلو على فكرة قوي. يعني it has a strong message that okay, eat healthy, but don't pressure yourself into being on a strict diet, because you're gonna ultimately go back to your old ones.
So some people, they get an anxiety or eating disorder. عشان هم they are really worried about gaining weight again. So you have to do it like slowly, smoothly, so you don't stress yourself.
How did social media impact you as a person? عشان back in the day, يعني, there wasn't social media, there wasn't Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. You know, when obviously my parents' generation. Now social media is one of the main things, one of the main pillars that we use every day. How did it change? How did it become something that you use on a daily basis? Like how did it help you?
I think that my major help, because I travel to different countries, and I miss my friends. So I think it was the best way to connect with people that I miss, like in Saudi. And I think like before Instagram and Facebook, I lost contact with a lot of people because there was no way to contact them. And after Facebook and Instagram, I get in touch with people that I never talked for maybe 15 years. So it was a good way to connect with people. And for me, I tried to, and that's what I learned from Nirvana, is to be positive as much as you can in what you post, and to have a message that inspire people. And I know, mashallah, her Facebook page was full of support to Palestine and full of support to be positive or to be positive in your life in general. So I feel like يعني دايما our tongue it's رسالة تتكلم يعني it's رسالة it's a message and هنتحاسب على الكلام اللي بنقوله برضه in the social media the same way to be positive دي حاجة انت هتؤجر عليها eventually and to inspire people like same for Palestine for example like اللي بيحصل في غزة دلوقتي and how you see the double standard and what's going on between Ukraine and between Gaza and I have a lot of American friends that they follow me on Instagram and they start asking questions and now they are pro-Palestine because they feel like that doesn't make sense and why we treat these people this way, why dehumanize the Palestinian people and that really I start a running group in Boston for Gaza every Sunday and I was just running today and so like most of the runners that run with me and most of them are Jewish and they are amazing people and they believe that Palestinian people they deserve their freedom and they deserve to be treated as human and they just carry a Palestinian flag while running and just like kindness is it's a language itself. It has nothing to do with religion or background or culture. It's just to be kind or to be honest about any situation. So I feel like maybe we cannot really help them, but at least we can show solidarity through Facebook, Instagram, and that will work one day, inshallah.
This has something to do with the media, how Europeans and how they portray the Middle East. Because I think I talked about this with one of my friends, where if you have a beard, if you have an accent, if you're just that's why I asked you the question about standing out and about do you feel like you're different there and are you treated differently, because that's how generally they think of Middle East and Arabs in general, where we are terrorists, we are the people that always have bad news and stuff like that. And that's why I think what you're doing is really actually amazing, where you have a running group and from that running group you're trying to also educate other people like Jewish people, because like you said, not everyone supports, by the way, Israel. Even Americans, even Jewish people, they are with Palestine, they are with what's happening with Palestine, like, and but unfortunately some stuff they cannot do anything as well, right? They are limited on what they can do. And I think the best way for us to do it is to share our opinions and to share our voice on social media. I think that's the best kind of support that we can give them.
I feel like the Jewish, especially the Jewish college kids in New York or in California, they are the most vocal and the most outspoken because they feel like they don't want that to happen in their name. And they are actually leading the protest and they're leading even the running group I started myself, but I think they are leading it because they are the one really consistent in coming every week. And I was very impressed about how vocal they are. And sometimes they have a lot of protests in New York. They put themselves in trouble even in their college. And they just, they believe in it. They believe that it's not fair what's going on.
Were you shocked that they were actually doing that? Or did you think that it was something normal because we're humans at the end of the day?
I think it's normal. I believe it's normal because I know a lot of Jewish and Christian people here and they have good heart. And I believe when they know the truth and they know what's going on, they will make a good decision. They are misinformed. And now people they stop listening to the media. Whatever, like they're liberal, conservative, they know they're lying. So people they don't believe it anymore, and they go more into social media, TikTok and Instagram, and that's why they want to ban the TikTok because they have no control over it. And younger generation now, it's more percentage of younger generation, they are more pro-Palestine more than the older generation because they are more exposed to social media, and that's the power of the social media that you can see the truth and then you make up your mind.
True, actually. Unfortunately, I don't know if it happens in America, but when I try to post something on my social media account on Instagram about Gaza, most of the time it gets blocked, right? So social media and Instagram can be used as a positive tool, right, to actually reach certain people, but at the same time it can be demeaning because of how they actually block your content from going out, which is something that يعني it's really annoying. It's really frustrating because even on social media you cannot say anything you want, you know.
True. Like
So
it's just that's the double standard. It's freedom of speech,
yeah,
but still it's not freedom of speech. That's,
what you want
they have to
exactly.
censor what you're saying. But the people, they know that now. They know what's going on. And even though they censor us and our posts and our support to Palestine, I don't think they will be able to stop the momentum and to stop the people who are vocal. Because when you are speaking the truth, or if you are pro-humanity, whatever, if I always say if Palestine is a Jewish state, I will say be pro-Palestine. It doesn't matter what religion they are. It's just the injustice and dehumanizing certain group of people. It's not acceptable. It's just something so like evil to do.
Have you ever, just out of curiosity, have you ever talked to them about Islam?
No, we never talked about religion. Like
Okay,
something about the culture in US,
okay.
you don't talk about politics or religion.
You don't talk about.
So we,
Okay,
and actually, I don't feel like the Palestine or Gaza, القضية الفلسطينية, I don't feel it's politics. It's pure humanity. It just,
it
yeah,
is.
it
Yeah,
just people are helpless and kids are dying, and there's no reason not to stop that or to be vocal about that.
yeah. للأسف it's humanity for us, but it's politics for others. You know. للأسف that's how it is. Yeah,
They don't care about the human being. They just greediness for money and power, and that's it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Allah ينصرهم. You know. I hope one day فلسطين تتحرر إن شاء الله. Moving away from that though, how do you, so you started this running group obviously to run, but also to raise awareness. What other initiatives are you taking, you know, like in the next year or 2 or 3? Where do you see yourself, and what other initiative do you see yourself taking in order to raise more awareness for topics like Gaza, topics like humanity in general, or even health? Because obviously, like you said, you're obese and you lost weight, so that can also be a topic that people can learn from.
So for every marathon, I'm trying to run the 6 major marathon, and every marathon I choose a charity or cause so I can run for it. So my first one was for breast cancer. My wife, she had breast cancer, and you know, cancer is tough when it knocks the door of the family. It's a rough experience. It's like a roller coaster, up and down. And but alhamdulillah, and I ran it for her, and she did beat it off, alhamdulillah. And
Alhamdulillah.
that was
Alhamdulillah.
motivation for me while I'm running. That like a lot of people, like they're fighting cancer or ALS or any chronic disease, and maybe running is the easy part. So I just keep going. My
Yeah.
second marathon was for childhood abuse in general, like for kids who are suffering in their
Oh,
childhood. I did that in London with a charity group
okay.
there. And that was fun race, and I ran with a lot of grown-ups that they have a childhood story that um, shapes their life as an adult, and it was fun to run with them. I love kids, so like any charity for kids, that would be my thing. And then my third marathon was for Berlin, for heart disease. One of my cousins passed
Okay.
away in young age
Alhamdulillah.
because of heart disease, and he was healthy and um athletic, but that's life. Uh, and then I ran for LS, for Chicago Marathon, for Nirvana, Allah yarhamah. And that's one of my favorite races as well. Was my fastest race as well. I felt the power of letsnirvana, like giving me the speed.
Yeah.
And I did
Yes.
Tokyo Marathon this year for Gaza, for Palestine, for the kids in Palestine.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Honestly, you can you can write a book with these marathons, because I'm pretty sure, you know, in every marathon and in every marathon there is a topic that's addressed. There is something that you want to raise awareness about, right? Whether it's fitness, and the topic like obesity or ALS or cancer, anything it is, and you learn things from all these races. You learn a lot of things from these races, and I think we need to share more awareness about running, more awareness about running for a purpose, not only running as well, which is really, really powerful. I really love that, and I really encourage you to do more and more of these races and post them more on your Instagram, because they are powerful. They do help other people. Maybe you won't see it, but maybe someone will watch the video and be like, I want to go for a race, just to run and raise awareness, which is something amazing, really, really amazing.
Running is fun, especially for charity. I know a lot of people don't like running at all, but when they do it for charity, they just drag their feet and they keep going and they do it. You run with a lot of family that their family member suffering from disease like cancer or ALS, and they see how the family come together, and sometimes they run together, and it's just the vibe and the atmosphere of running for charity is very admirable and very positive experience.
I wanted to ask you about some advices. So basically, growing up, obviously, you had your father as a role model that you used to look at, and your mom, you learned a lot of things from your mom as well. What advice would you give your kids right now to kind of live by, to kind of, maybe this advice you didn't have when you were younger, maybe no one told you about, but what kind of advice or what kind of life lesson would you give your kids?
One of the book I read at some point in my life, it's called The Secret, for Brazilian author. It's called The Law of Attraction. So when you think positive, you attract positive things in your life. When you think negative, you'll attract negative things in your life. So, and I believe in it. I believe when you have the positive mindset, you will attract positive things in your life. Even though maybe things wouldn't go your way, then it doesn't matter. في الحديث الشريف إن عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله خير. إن أتاك خيرا شكرت كان خيرا لك وإذا أتاك شرا صبرت فكان خيرا لك. So I think that I always try to tell my kids that have the positive mindset, and my dad always say, put your positive pants on. So it doesn't matter, because life you cannot really control. The life, it can go up and down in the same day. So this, the book was about gratefulness. I know you mentioned being grateful in the beginning of the episode. I think gratefulness is very powerful, and it will be your best tool to deal with life, being disappointed or being happy, or so if my son he plays soccer, if he has a good game and he scores a lot of goals, gratefulness would teach him to be humble and to work harder to improve himself. If he had a bad day, or he didn't score, or he had a rough day in school, he learned that I have to be thankful because I have other things to be thankful for, and I will try again tomorrow. So I think that book, it's called The Law of Attraction. It really shaped my mindset somehow, and I always tell my kids some tips from this book.
Okay. I want to ask one more question. What kind of advice would you give your future self? So Ahmed, 10 years from now or 20 years from now, what kind of advice would you give him? Maybe sometimes self-forgiveness. Sometimes I can be tough on myself, and when you go back to your own self in that time, in that place, you feel like maybe that's the best you could do at this moment. You didn't have the resources or the information that you have now, so I feel like to take it easy on myself sometimes, and that I learned now that because to move forward, you have to have this kind of self-forgiveness to keep the momentum of your life. And how did this affect you now? Because obviously, forgiving yourself and moving forward, or kind of letting things go, is very hard, right? Because it affects it has something directly related to mental health, where sometimes you're overwhelmed, sometimes you put a lot of your pressure on yourself and you kind of burn out. How did you deal with that, or how were you dealing with that to this age right now, that helped you realize, no, I need to actually let things go, I need to move on, and I need to how did you take control of your own mental health?
Like the running part really gave me a lot of self-discipline and patience, uh, because like it's kind of journey that it teach you, like in the beginning of your run you're enjoying your time, in the middle you get super tired, at the end you are collapsing because I think you just run with your mind and your heart, you cannot really drag your feet. So I think after, like in certain time of my life, running was kind of like my mental health to go through hard time. Like when my wife, she got her cancer and we had this rough time, and I started running about the same time, like running the marathon. I felt it gave me like some kind of mental strength to deal with hard time. Um, and I believe that if people are stressed or having rough time or having part of their childhood that they didn't talk about, I feel like talking to someone professional as well is also can be an option for people to seek help. And I know in our culture that something like people don't like to talk about or they feel embarrassed, but I feel like that should be normal, because the pace of life now is more stressful and more different than before. So like you can seek some help to, if you like going through a hard time, that can be helpful as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important to seek help, because like you mentioned, sometimes we don't like to speak at all, we just keep it inside us, and that kind of builds more and affects us more. I think it's very important, even if it's not someone professional, even if it's a friend or a family member or someone that, exactly, yeah, I think it's really important. And I think especially to young people, like growing up when they are 12, 13, 14, I think it's also important for them because they are learning and seeing a lot of things for the first time, and maybe they get traumas for it, and if they build on this trauma, they cannot go back from it. So I think it's really important for them to speak out as well.
Like to talk to the kids, like especially before they go to bed, and I don't ask them the direct question. I will just tell them what was the best part of your day, or what was the most challenging part of your day, or what you found hard in the school that you found yourself like stressed, or like something challenging that you want to talk about. And you will be surprised like how they open up. So I feel like talking about emotions or in an indirect way, so you don't be like really invasive to their boundaries. But I totally like believe that even kids, you need to respect their own boundaries. So you have to do it in a way that you respect their boundaries, but at the same time give them the space to open about things that they might be shy to talk about or embarrassed to talk about, or they forget about it because it has been a long day. You just give them like a safe environment to talk about things.
All right, so we talked about your past, we talked about your present, we talked about the importance of family. I want to talk about Ahmed, the future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what are your ambitions? What are your goals? What do you want to do?
To keep running, because I saw a lot of runners that run until they are 70s and 80s, and I want to be that fit in that age. Not for physical fitness, just for mental fitness as well. Like to be able to enjoy life even in older age. I will hit 40 in 2 years, so that's a big milestone. But I just take it one day at a time. Of course, there's a lot of things I need to improve in my own self and my character or my personality or my connection to God, or يعني علاقتي مع ربنا أكيد. Like every day you need to improve and work on yourself. Like I don't think age will be a barrier to do so. I think like every day you are living, you have to improve yourself and work harder.
Be better than what you used to be before. Be better than who you were yesterday. That's what I tell myself. Honestly, thank you so much for your time, Ahmed. It has been amazing. I think we have talked for almost
That's
an
what's fun.
hour and
I
20
didn't feel the
minutes.
time. I'm not really a good speaker, but you made it easy.
Well, I know it's honestly thanks to you, thanks to your ambitions, to your goals, and to everything about raising awareness about running. Because honestly, before talking to you, I never had running in mind. Running was something that was boring for me. Running was something that I never wanted to do. But ever since I connected with you on Instagram and I saw that you like to run and why you run, which is for a purpose, I wanted to do it myself. And that's where social media is very powerful, very, very powerful, that you can actually, without even knowing the person, you can influence that person to doing
People
doing
around
good
you.
things.
Yeah, maybe we can run Qatar Marathon. It's
100%.
called Uridu Marathon, and that's in my bucket list. But inshallah, we can run it together one day.
Okay. Yalla. That would be amazing. Yeah, we can do that. That would be amazing, actually. But yeah, honestly, thank you so much for coming and having an episode with me. I learned a lot. The people, when I post this, also are going to learn a lot from you, from your wisdom, from everything that you had to say. But there's two things I still need from you. I need you to look at the camera and I need you to say a sentence about Let's Nirvana and a sentence to advise the people watching this.
So, Let's Nirvana. I'm so proud of you, Muhammad, about your podcast, Let's Nirvana, and it's very inspiring to see like people from different background and different culture talking about their life experience and how they grow as a human being. Because I lived in many places and I feel like people are the same anywhere they live. And the name came from the most inspiring person I ever met, Stunt Nirvana, and the name itself is very powerful. And just keep up the good work.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ahmed. Once again, thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for everything that you do. Please continue running, and I'm looking forward to your next marathon. Is it anytime soon?
New York Marathon, inshallah, it's in November. I didn't get into the lottery, but I'm trying charity, so I'm applying. So hopefully I get in this year, inshallah.
And is it for a purpose?
I didn't choose my charity yet, but most probably it will be for Palestine. There's no charity group that sponsor New York Marathon, so I have to be part of other charity group. But I will donate for the other charity group, and I will have a donation page for people in Gaza, inshallah. Amazing. Looking forward to it. And thank you so much, Ahmed, once again for being here. I learned a lot from you. Same here, Muhammad. Thank you, and good luck with the Let's Nirvana podcast, and best wishes. Let's Nirvana. Yes. Bye. Bye.